Okay, now children, we go to the next topic, that is the concept of heat and work. Concept of what? Heat and work. Now children, you have learned in details in class 10 also, and even you learn in class 11 also, that work as a language of physics say that the work is said to be done when force applied on a body, or we can call as a system, and that body or system moves in the direction of what? Force. Suppose there is a body or system in which we apply the force, and due to that force, if the body moves, or there is a displacement of the body, okay, or the system in the direction of force, then we say that the work is said to be what? Done. And you know, work is measured as the product of force and displacement. The product of force and displacement measure the what? Work. Now, work are actually two types. Actually, if I tell you about the work, okay, work, there are two types of work that we can see, that is called external work. For your detailed information, external work, and there is also called what work? Internal work. So work are two types, one is called external work, one is called internal work. Okay. Now, suppose the whole system exert a force on its surrounding, and there is a displacement, then the work which is done either by the system or on the system. Now, just taking the example of this gas which is filled in a vessel with help of piston. So you learn in detail about this part also. So this gas acts as a system, and this vessel or the wall consisting of this gas is a surrounding. Okay. So in this case, the work is either done by the system or work is done on the system. Okay. Now this work done is actually the external work done. This work done is the what work done? External work done. External work done. Okay, external what? Work done. Okay, so for that, as I said already, that suppose there is a gas enclosed in a cylinder or vessel, okay, at uniform pressure. Now this gas get expand. If this gas get expand, okay, while it expand, it pushes the piston. It pushes the piston up. Okay, so in that case, what happened? The external work which is done by the gas on the surrounding. The work is done by the gas on the surrounding, or work is done by the system on the surrounding. So work is done by one part of the system to another part. Okay, but there is a work which is also called internal work. This is also called what work? Internal work. So work done by one part of the system on another part actually is called the internal work. It's called what work? Internal work. That means inside the gas, so there are the molecules, okay, and there is a displacement of molecules with respect to each other, okay, and one molecules can exert force to another molecules, and there is a displacement of molecules within the gas, and that work which is done is called the internal work. Internal what? Work. That's why children, this part you need to understand that in thermodynamics we consider only external work. In thermodynamics, we consider only what work? External work, not the internal work, because this involves an interaction between the system and the surrounding. Okay, because external work involved in the interaction between the system and the what? Surrounding. Thus, whatever we say, work in thermodynamics means external work done. So, work done in thermodynamic process or thermodynamic means which work done? External work done. Now, in order to understand about the heat and work, as heat and work are two different forms of energy. So, children, remember this: heat and work are the two different forms of energy. Two different form of energy. Because energy is the capacity to doing work, and heat is also a form of energy. Okay, which give the sensation of hotness or coldness. So, heat and work are the two different forms of energy, which can be transferred to each other, which can transfer to what? Each other. That's why you know that in the last YouTube video you learned James Prescott Joule expressed the relation between heat and work, equivalence of heat and work. Okay. Now, there is a fundamental difference between the heat and work. Children, this part you need to understand. There is a fundamental difference between heat and work. Now, to tell you about this, when energy is transferred from one body to another body, due to the what? Difference of temperature, then this transport energy is called the heat. So children, try to understand what is the exact statement of heat. Heat is the transport energy from one body to another body due to the difference in what? Temperature. That's why this transport energy is actually observed in the form of flow of heat, because heat can flow from body at higher temperature to body at low temperature. But this transport energy from one body to another body due to difference in temperature. See, energy will transport only when there is a difference in what? Temperature. And this transport energy is actually called as what? Heat. But when energy transport does not depend on the difference in temperature between the two bodies, then that energy transport between them is actually called as work. So try to understand, children, this part. Energy transport does not depend upon the temperature difference between the two bodies, then that energy transport between them is actually called as work. So work is that form of energy, whose energy transport does not depend upon the temperature difference, whereas heat is that form of energy where the energy transport between the two bodies completely depend upon the difference in temperature. So that is the main difference between heat and what? Work. Now children, in order to understand this more about heat and work, let me give you the example. When a hot body is brought in contact with a cold body, like suppose this is a hot body, and if it contact with a cold body, this is cold body, and this is what body? Hot body. Now hot body means definitely higher temperature, cold body means low temperature. So when hot body is in contact with the cold body, then energy is transferred from the hot body to what body? Cold body. Hot body to what? Cold body, till the temperature does not become equal. And this energy is actually called what? Heat. The heat is transported in the form of energy. Heat transport. Children, remember this. Heat transport from hot body to cold body till the temperature between two cold body will be same. And this transport energy is actually called as heat. So this energy which is transported is called what? Heat. But when a person stirs cold water, suppose this is a cold water contained in a vessel, and if a person stirs cold water taken in a vessel, then the energy is transferred from the person into the water, and water becomes slightly hot. It's not too hot, the water becomes slightly hot, by doing some mechanical work by the person on the cold water. Whatever be the initial temperature of the water, so under this condition, the energy which is transferred, is the work done by the person. Who is doing the work? Work done by the person. Now, if person stirs this cold water, for a long time contained in a vessel, and if that water become hot, slightly hot, not that hot, but slightly hot, then the energy is transferred from the person to the water. So that under this case, the energy which is transferred is actually nothing but the work done by the what? Person. Work done by the what? Person. Now the next thing that we need to keep in mind, children, is that when there is a difference of temperature between a system and the surrounding, like system is like a gas contained in a vessel act as a surrounding, then if there is a difference in temperature between system and the surrounding, then the heat is transferred from system into the surrounding, from system to the surrounding, or from surrounding to the system. So it's not necessarily only heat transfer from system to the surrounding, it can transfer from surrounding to the system. But there must be a temperature difference between system and the surrounding. But when there is no temperature difference between the system and surrounding, the transfer of heat will not take place at all. So remember, children, this part, that the transfer of heat occurs only when there is a difference of temperature between system and the surrounding. If the system and surrounding acquire same temperature, no exchange of heat or no transfer of heat takes place between the system and the surrounding. So this concept is very much required between heat and work. So children, heat and work, they are the form of energy, different form of energy, but they are not exactly equal to each other. Now they have some difference between the definition of heat and definition of what? Work, and that you have learned already in this particular YouTube video. Now in the next YouTube video, you learn about the sign convention. This is another important part, children. You need to understand the sign convention for heat, because this concept of work and heat, and even after that you learn about the concept of internal energy, is very much required for the next law that you need to understand in details, a very, very important law in thermodynamics known as first law of thermodynamics. So the next topic you learn as the sign convention of heat, and that you learn in the next YouTube video.